here today with another video, and this video is about thumbnails and why you should use them in your illustration process. So, thumbnails are basically a small sketch, just a little doodle basically, of an illustration before you get to working on the final. Here I decided I was going to draw a mermaid, and I started sketching out different ideas. Thumbnails are primarily used to figure out composition of a piece overall. So what the figure is, how the figure is posed, where the figure is in the frame, and so on. So here I am going to be going through a few different ideas for how I want to draw my mermaid, and I'm going to go through 4 total different compositions before I move on to the next step. But for now, I will explain to you a little bit more about thumbnails while you watch. So like I said, thumbnails are basically quick little sketches just giving you an idea of what your piece is going to look like. And they're really helpful because if you've ever tried to draw a big piece and you work really hard on it, and then you look at the finished product and it's horrible. Sometimes the issue is that from the start it just didn't have a good composition, and that is a huge problem because it's not really something that can be easily fixed. You pretty much have to start the whole illustration over again. So that is why it's such a big thing for a lot of professional illustrators, and a lot of people kind of forget to do it or don't realize how important it is. But as you can see, I just took that idea of mermaid and I've already got a bunch of different composition ideas here that I'm drawing out. And all of them are very different and give different ideas and have different strengths and weaknesses. So as I go through those, I can get an idea of what I am looking to do with my mermaid illustration. And that way, when I finish the drawing, if there's something wrong with it, it's probably something I can fix in the end. Or I need to go back to the thumbnailing process again. Either way, it's going to save me a lot of work in the sketching stage and a lot of work in getting a final piece that I feel satisfied with. So here I'm finishing up the 4th thumbnail of my mermaid here. As you can see, there are 2 full body ones, and then there are 2 kind of waist up-ish drawings, and this just kind of gives me a good variety to choose from. I didn't really have any set idea of which I was going to use, but yeah, now I can take a look at that. So here I am copying over the thumbnails I already did because now I'm going to be playing with the lighting scheme, with light and shadow, which is another big part of a drawing that is often overlooked, especially by beginning artists, and it's something that I overlooked for a really long time, is the importance of light and shadow in your drawing. Because it's going to bring in a lot of contrast, and it's going to bring in a lot of other compositional things that are really important to your piece. So right now I'm going through and I'm just taking various blues and grays to kind of figure out a quick lighting scheme. So that way I can look at these and see which ones will have the most powerful lighting with the poses and the positions that I've chosen. And as I go through these, I can keep thinking about which one do I really want to stick with, which one's going to be most effective for what I'm trying to do, and so on. And it's also kind of fun because then you can get a bit of practice in before you go into the full drawing and start playing with the shadows, so that you don't have to worry about having to redo them over and over as you realize that your lighting wasn't entirely figured out. So here I'm going to go through those last 2 and just put in those highlights and those shadows to get that general idea. Like I said before, these thumbnails are just quick sketches, and they shouldn't take long, and they should give you a lot of information in a small package. That way you can just look through it. You don't need details, you don't need specifics, you're just looking and deciding which composition you want, and how you want in this case, how you want your lighting to look. So here I'm finishing up this last one, and then I'm going to go on to one more kind of thumbnailing that can be super helpful when you're figuring out an illustration, especially a larger illustration. Okay, so now I'm going to pick one of these compositions, and I decided on the first one that I drew, and I'm going to copy it down. I'm going to make 4 of these really quickly, and then the next kind of thumbnail I'm going to go into is a color. So when you're deciding on a color scheme, sometimes you can pick a color scheme that you really like, and then you'll put it down and suddenly you don't like it anymore, which is always fun to deal with because then you have to start that step all over again, unless you're digital, in which case you might be able to mess with hue and saturation tools, but either way, it's really helpful to kind of lay down your colors and get a quick idea of what's working and what isn't. So here I'm going to be starting with the classic Little Mermaid kind of color scheme with the pale skin and orange hair and green, blue kind of. Also, as I go through this, I can kind of tweak little things if I need to. I'm adding a quick little outline to make sure the composition's still strong the way I'm drawing it. And then I'll move on to the next one. And the next one I decided to go with a darker skin tone. I thought that would be fun to try out, and then some light kind of purplish bluish hair here. I also went in and colored the water around her to make sure that the hair stood out as its own entity, and then I went in with some purple to do the top and the tail here. And for all of these, I chose to use pretty much the same color for the tail fin and the hair. I just thought that looked really cool. So I'm going in again with this dark brown to do some quick lines, just get some definition in there, and then some little eye color right there. So this one is probably the one I decided I liked the best because it was the most fishy, I guess. It was this, and the sleek black and then the yellow and white in there as well. And it was, I think, the most visually interesting color scheme, especially with the kind of darker root to the hair and such. So I also chose a darker skin tone for this one. I was just really liking the idea of drawing a mermaid with a darker skin tone. I haven't seen that a lot in illustration, and I kind of wanted to try it out. So here I'm just adding those quick lines, and then after this I try one more color scheme that I didn't love as much, but it was still fun to play with, and that is I chose a really dark skin tone to put down first, and then I decided I really wanted to kind of stick with the dark skin, light hair thing that I had been going through before, and I picked a gray to go through with that, and then use that color as well on the tail fin, but for now going through with the kind of periwinkle-ish, well, it looks periwinkle on the drawing, but and then the gray and the tail fin, and going in with the lines, and so yeah. I hope you enjoyed this video. I know it was a little longer than most of my other videos, but I do hope you enjoyed it, and you can find a reference sheet of all these thumbnails and some tips for thumbnailing on my Patreon if you donate $3 a month or more, I believe. I think it's $3 a month or more. Then you can see tutorials, and if you donate any amount, you can see some cool sketches and other things I don't post elsewhere. So, thanks for watching. Bye.